What's going on, stackers? So in this video I'm going to share with you how to create digital colouring pages in Canva that you can sell online. So welcome back to Stacking Profit. My name's Paddy and over here we give you the tools and the resources to learn, grow and master passive income streams so that you can live a life of freedom. Now, like I said in this video, I'm going to share with you how to create colouring pages that you can sell online. Now, once you've created these colouring pages, there's multiple ways that you can sell them. We can sell them as a whole colouring book through KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, or we can sell them as individual pages over on Etsy. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about that nearer the end of the video, but right now let's get straight into this and I'm going to explain to you and show you exactly how to create colouring pages using Canva. Now we are going to need a couple of tools, obviously. First one being here, Canva. You can use the free trial or the free Canva account, should I say, sorry. You can use that or the Canva Pro. I have Canva Pro, all because I like the benefits that you get from that with being able to upload your own fonts, create your own folders and all of that good stuff. But Canva is one of the tools that we're going to need, and then we're also going to need Creative Fabrica. Now, if you don't have a Creative Fabrica membership, you can get a $1 trial, 30-day trial, 1 month, down in the description below. You can get access for everything just for $1, and then it renews at $19 a month after that first month, and you can cancel at any time. So if you want to check that out, click that link down in the description below, because we're going to be using Creative Fabrica, because we can get some awesome colouring pages from here, and I can get all of my fonts, and then we're going to design it over here in Canva. Now, the first thing that you're going to need is the right dimensions. Now, with most colouring books, they're 8.5 times 11 inches. So are colouring pages. So that's what I've got it on just here. Now, if we go back over to Canva, we'd go to create a design just here in the right-hand corner, and then we'd go to custom design or custom size just here. So I'd click on there, and from here I'd put 8.5 times 11. In fact, we need to change that to inches first. So we got 8.5. Here we go. 8.5 times 11. And then I'll click create new design. And it's going to pull up the dimensions just here. Now from here, this is where we can start creating our designs. Now I'm going to keep all of this super simple so anyone can follow along. Practically anybody can do this as well, because what I'm about to share with you is just a real simple way to create really nice looking colouring pages. Now over here I have a bunch of different mandalas, mandala colouring pages. Now with these, you can find so many great ones over on Creative Fabrica. Now these right here actually come from a bundle, which I did a video about a few weeks back. Now if we go back over to channel, we can see that video just here. If you want to check this out, I'll link that right there in the right hand corner so you can go through and watch. But in this video, I share this packet or this bundle. Now with this bundle, you get 1,250 pages, all for just $14. That's $14 if you don't have a membership. If you have that Creative Fabrica membership, you can come in and download these at no extra cost. But these, just here, is what I have just here over on Canva. I downloaded them, I've uploaded them, and now I can start designing. Now first things first, what I like to do, I start off with one page just here, and then what I do is just add a little border round the outside, and everything inside is where I'm going to start designing. Now with these mandalas that I have here on the left hand side, we can see they actually already have a border round the outside. So in fact, I wouldn't actually need this border, but with most mandalas that you get, they don't have this border. So I like to add one to keep everything in the same square. Now, like I said, that's what I do first, but these already have borders round the outside. So I've added one just here. What I'm going to do is just go through the steps on how I create. So again, you can follow along, use different mandalas, use different quotes, and design some really nice colouring pages. But first of all, I've added the page. So we start off with one page just here. Then as we go through, I'd add a border. Then once I've added the border, I'd add the mandala. Then once I added the mandala, I need some quotes. So right here, I've just put "bless this mess." This is just a quote that I found online. Now, top tip, when it comes to quotes, you can use quite a lot of different ones. Now, you always need to check your trademarks, your copyrights, and all of that good stuff. For me personally, I understand all of that, so I don't really put too much effort into researching quotes that I can use because I already understand that. Now, top to using quotes, stay away from anything related to celebrities, movies, TV shows, anything where it's a blatant copyright issue. Do not use that quote. Now, me personally, I use quotes to where you wouldn't have no idea who to give credit to. Most of the quotes that I use are all just generic quotes that sound good, and you can find them absolutely everywhere. Now, this video isn't about finding quotes and all of that. If you want a video about that, then drop a comment down below letting me know, and I will create a future video all about using quotes and my experience. But right here, I've added the words onto the page. Now, another top tip that I like to use is two different fonts. So right here, I have this font just here, which is, if we click on there, Chicken Wings. So that font's called Chicken Wings. And then this font is called, if we can click on it, this is called Afternoon Christmas. Now, both of these fonts I found over on Creative Fabrica. If we come here and then go to fonts, in fact, let's just do that. If we click on fonts, we can go to all font categories, and then we can actually start looking through all of the different fonts to find ones to use in your colouring books. So let's just give that a second to load up, because there's an absolute monstrous amount of fonts that you can use from Creative Fabrica. Now, as we can see, there's lots of different font categories. There's absolutely hundreds of them. So you can go through that way, or you can just click on fonts and then just start looking through the first page, trying to find fonts that you like. Remember, when you actually start investing in your business and buying graphics and fonts and things like that, you can create much better quality designs. But right here we can see all of these different fonts, and if you have that membership, you can come in at no extra cost and download them. Now, when it comes to having fonts in a colouring book, my rule of thumb is having two different fonts that complement each other. So I have this bold one here, and then what I like to call this fancy one. So I have a bold and a fancy, and they look good together. Now from here, what I like to do is actually go through every single page. I've already done the research into finding quotes for the niche book that I want to create. So I put all those quotes into a spreadsheet or a notepad, so I've got them for future reference. Then I come in, I add a different mandala on every single page, and then I'd go through and add all the quotes onto each page as well. Then once I've done that, I'll go back to the beginning and then start designing once I've got the base layer all filled out. But this is what I've done. Bless this mess. We have the mandala, then we have the quote with two different fonts. Now from here, this is where I like to start playing around. So right here, I've added a little drop shadow behind this. Now, when it comes to the effects that you can use on Canva, you're kind of limited. So let me show you what I mean. Right here, this is the splice effect. Now with this splice effect, this is what allows me to turn any font into a colouring in font. If I didn't have that on, that effect, it would just look like this. So by using the splice effect, we can use any font and turn it into a colouring in book, which is absolutely awesome, because again, that means I can literally use any font from here on Creative Fabrica and make some really good quality colouring books. But again, what I did was just added a drop shadow, because we can't layer effects or certain effects. So what do I mean? Right now we have this on splice, but I also want the shadow. So we can only have one or the other. So the best way to get around that is just to come here, go to the three dots, duplicate the font, then we turn the effect off so it's black, then I just put that over the top, like so, pull it out a little bit, and then push behind. So if we look just here, if we take that, push that backwards, like so, we can see there's that font. All I did was push it behind it to make a drop shadow effect. So let's just push that back. Oh, I've done the wrong one. Let's do that. Let's go back onto here. Let's just move that back. And there we go. And now right here, I played around with this font as well, just making it look good. So once I've got this and I'm happy with that, once I've designed, again, two different fonts, and then I like to play around with drop shadows and just start designing. Because most people are just going to do that. That looks okay, but I like to add drop shadows and lots of cool stuff just to make the design pop. So this, bless this mess, now looks really good, but sometimes I like to put a little graphic as well. So if we go to here, we can see I've added a little graphic. All I did was go to here. I went to elements within Canva, and then I typed in, I can't actually remember what I typed, maybe bless or something, yeah, bless. So it was this. And then this came up, so I thought I'd just use it in the book. But again, this looks pretty good, and this is how simple it is to create colouring pages. Again, I could create a whole book, or I could just create individual pages and sell them over on Etsy. Now, my point to this is I'm showing you exactly how I do things. I start off with the blank page. Well, in fact, when I'm over on Creative Fabrica, I find all the graphics and everything that I want to use first. So if I'm going to create a mandala colouring book or some type of colouring book using mandalas, I normally go through and find all the mandalas that I want to use. And then I come over to here in Canva and then put them into its own folder. Now, if we go to here to folders, I can create a new folder just here. Now, this is a Canva Pro feature, but this allows me to keep everything organized. So I could name this Mandala Coloring Pages. Then I could click Create Folder, and then all the mandalas that I download here from Creative Fabrica, I can just upload it into that folder, keeping everything more organized. And then with the fonts, I find a bunch of fonts that I want to use, I download them, I upload them here in Canva as well, so I can use them. And I already have an understanding on what book that I'm going to create, so I have everything prepared before I create the book. That way it makes things so much easier when I come through like this. I'll start off with one page, then I'll add the border, then I'll add a mandala, and then I'll add my quotes. Quotes, again, I do all the research beforehand before ever even creating my book. That way you can create your book so much easier. But I then put the fonts or the quote on the page, and then I just mess around with two different fonts. If we look here at my fonts, I literally have so many different types. Now, I believe if you have the Canva Pro, you can upload up to 100 fonts here within Canva, and then you can use those fonts within your books. But right here we can see all my uploaded fonts, and I have a huge amount. Now, with Canva Pro, if you want a 30-day free trial, we do have that as well, so you can click right there in the right hand corner. No, you can't. You can click right down there in the description if you want to go through and check it out. But again, it all comes down to that research. I've done all the research, and then I'm going through creating my book. I put the quote on the page, I play around with a couple of fonts, and then I'd move on to the next page. And the next page is all going to be completely different. I'd use two different fonts and a completely different mandala. That way it's going to make the book a lot more interesting. But again, we start scrolling through and we can see that's when I started adding lots of different effects just to make it look good. And then I also add sometimes a little graphic if it makes sense. So bless this mess, we have the background, we have the quote, we have the fonts, we have the effects, and then we have the graphic. And all combined together, it looks really good. So you can create individual pages like this, Or you can create the pages like this and then turn it into a colouring book to sell on KDP. Now, if you're brand new to actually creating and selling colouring books on KDP, I do have a video that you might want to check out. I'll link it right there in the right hand corner, so it's a little bit easier for you to go and watch it. But I highly suggest going through, giving it a watch, and also checking out more videos on the channel, because we talk about publishing an awful lot. But again, that is it. That's what I would do. Then once I have that first page, I'll start moving on creating second pages. So right here, this is another mandala, which I got from that folder, which again came from this bundle, which is a pretty cool bundle with 1,250 pages that you can use. Top tip, now never ever use these as is. So most people are just going to take this. So let's just do this. Let's scroll back up. Let's just take that font off like so. Most people are just going to use this as is like that. Now that's a no-go, because there's going to be a lot of people taking these mandalas, just putting them into books and not actually doing any work or making the designs better. So that way you're going to come up with other people that have practically the same book. But if you use it to actually design on top of and start creating the colouring pages, you can make some really nice designs. Now with this one, I've just put the quote on, but now I'd go through the quote, start adding drop shadows and just making it look good. And I'd do that for every single one. So I've got another one here, Seasons of Joy. I can play around with this to make it look good, because if you don't make it look good, it just doesn't pop. You want to be making the best quality books that you can. And by actually designing, so if we go back to here, by actually designing, you can make this happen. Because look at this. This looks much better quality than just by putting the words on a page. So really understand that you really need to be designing on top of these to make some really good quality books. Now again, we'll have a look at them. I could go through these and then making it pop. Now this is from another video that I did a few weeks back, but we can see it looks good. I have that mandala, I have the quote, I have two different fonts, and I have a little graphic. And again, if we scroll on a little bit more, I have another one just here, which all look pretty good. So following these three simple steps, you can really create some good quality books. First one is having your mandala. So if we go back to here, just around about here, you always want your pattern on the back. This can kind of be any type of pattern. And then you want to put your quote on top and then design that quote with two different fonts and just make it pop and start designing till it looks good. And then I add a graphic. So my designs are all really easy to create because every design follows the same main principle. I have a background, I have fonts, and then I have a graphic. It's kind of the same way that I create all of my designs. But by sticking by that, you can make some really good quality ones, as you can see. But again, it all comes down to the quality of your patterns, the quality of your fonts, and your design skills. And all of that, all the above, I get from Creative Fabrica. Again, I can get absolutely everything that I need from Creative Fabrica to create my colouring books. Now, I say colouring books because that's what I turn these into. Every colouring page that I create gets turned into a book. So I'd go through, I'd create this page, I'd create at least 30 pages, and then I'd download that as a book, and then I'd create the cover as well. So if I were to create these as just an individual colouring page, I'd go to here, I'd go to download, I'd click on here, and then go to PDF print, and then I'd click on the page number. So this is page 6. So from here, I'd just click download number 6, click done, and click download. Now I have that individual page. Now I could package that up into a zip file and go and sell them over on Etsy. Or, again, like what I do, I could turn this into a book. Now, if I turn this into a book, I'm going to need lots of different colouring pages. Let's say at least 30. So that's where I'd go through, start designing all of the other pages as well. And then when it comes to download, I'd download every single page as a PDF print, all pages 11. Let's just pretend that's a whole book, and then I'd click download. But one top tip if you are going to create a colouring book with your colouring pages is to keep the back page blank. So let me just download this for a second, then I'll show you quickly what I mean before I wrap the video up. So there we go, that's downloaded. So what I would do on this, you'd want that blank page blank. So I'll just take that off like that, and then alternate a design to blank page to design, and that's how I'd go through the whole book. Now, we have created videos on creating colouring books in the past. I'll link one right there if you want to go through and watch. We also do have a colouring book course where I go more in depth on this subject, and if you want to check that out, you can get there by going to simplecoloringbooks.com. But that's it. That's how simple it is to actually create some good quality colouring pages. If I just open this folder or this file of that one image, we can take a quick look to see what it looks like. And there we go. It looks pretty good. Let's just zoom out. There we go. I'm pretty happy with this. So this would look pretty good in a colouring page. Now, like I said, you can sell this over on KDP as a whole colouring book. You would actually have to create quite a few pages and then the cover as well, but you can make quite a decent amount of royalties through selling colouring books. Now, this is my report or my results from selling my low content books. Some of these are colouring books. If we scroll down, this is actually Get Book Report. This just gives me all the stats for my account. But if we scroll down to here, my best selling book for the month has sold 649 units and made me $1,300 in royalties, and this is one of my colouring books that I sell on KDP. So we can create the colouring pages, turn them into colouring books and sell them on KDP, or you can even sell them as individual colouring pages here on Etsy. This is something that I do not do myself, but I should, because it wouldn't be too much trouble for me to go ahead and actually do this. Now, if we go to here to the search bar, we can do colouring pages, and then we can click enter, and then you can go through Etsy and have a look at all the different colouring pages that are actually selling. And again, once you've created some really good quality colouring pages here within Canva, you can download them and sell them over on Etsy here as digital downloads. Now, this video has gone on a lot longer than I originally planned, so I am going to cut it there. That's everything that I wanted to share with you on how to create good quality colouring pages, relatively easy. Remember, it comes down to a few main principles, and they are having a decent background or a pattern, then your fonts, and then also a graphic. So all you need to do is use those three principles, play around, and also just make them look good. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Also, go hit subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you can be notified for any further videos. That being said, I've been Paddy, this has been Stacking Profit, and I'll see you again soon.